And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. We'd love to take your calls about the issues that matter to you, a few things that we've been discussing. Whether or not you think $110 million is a good investment for the state of Idaho to expand state government. No, we're not talking about a huge social program. We're talking about real-life concrete assets. In other words, the old HP campus on Chinden Boulevard. What is it, 7 acres, something like that, thousands of parking spaces, lots of cubicles. And the state thinks it's a good thing because they can put all the state agencies there. Of course, isn't that really Meridian rather than Boise? Could we see the state government possibly moving the Great Rotunda to Meridian? I doubt that, but really, do we really need to spend $110 or $110 million? If it was such a good thing, then why didn't that happen in December? Why did it happen in December as opposed to when the legislature was in session? Plus, we're talking about under God and swearing an oath. If you don't swear an oath to God, what do you swear? Who do you swear an oath to? Let's go to Hank in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. Just briefly on the swearing oath, maybe they took it out of the FBI oath. Maybe that might explain some things. But getting back to Butch, everything about Butch is about Butchie babies. It's all about Butch. And when you understand that, then his actions become more comprehensible. This HB deal was basically a payoff for some political contributor. This is how Butch operates. You know, and people that supported him in his early career, like Ralph Sneed and Elizabeth Hodges, and the people that played it. Not only that, but he ran as the Reagan National Committeeman candidate against Dave Little, who was Brad Little's father back in 1976. You wouldn't tell it now. And I think, given the waste, and there was another payola thing, and that was the Syringa Quest bids, where he subverted state law on the lowest bidder to get a political contributor, in this case, Quest, to take on the broadband thing on the schools. And this is what leads me to my final subject. The gubernatorial candidates need to unite and say that any decisions on education, whether it be on higher education, should be delayed to the next administration. A joint statement by all the primary candidates. Butch should not touch this with a 10-foot pole, because I'm going to tell you, whatever solution he comes up with, it's going to cost the state more money, and it's going to be some sort of payoff to somebody. That's how Butch operates.
Now, what do you again? Repeat that, Hank.
The candidates, they should be a joint statement by Alquist, Brad Little, Labrador, that any decisions on education should be delayed until the next gubernatorial administration. Butch should not be doing this as lame duck, and especially given his track record. He shouldn't be touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Well, I mean, it seems like he's giving away the farm here. Now he's coming up with the Butch Otter scholarships, which, again, for a guy that's cut education over the years, it seems like since we have so much money, let's spend it on a lot of boondoggle programs.
Well, let's put it this way.
Here's another way, and I'm sorry, Hank, let me just jump in here for a minute. We cut social programs for the mentally ill, and we're looking at putting in scholarship programs. You know, $5 million. $5 million could go back to helping a lot of special needs programs that were cut during the recession.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think it has a lot to do with politics within a marriage, and I think between him and Lori being her education background, and I think that will provide you a key. Again, it's all about Butch. If you understand that the world revolves around Butch, Butch is you'll understand how Butch thinks.
I don't really get that, Hank, but thank you for the call.
Okay.
You never know what you're going to find out here at KIDO Talk Radio in the morning. By the way, our State of the Union party, Dave & Buster's, a week from today. We would love to see you there. Phone numbers to RSVP 208-901-3806, or you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and get the number there. Let's go to Terry in State College, Pennsylvania, formerly of State College, Pennsylvania, with Kevin Miller. Good morning.
Yes, you better correct that. Formerly of State College. Kevin, is there such term as a government philanthropist, and they give away everybody else's money so they get the name put on a building or a bridge or something?
I could say we had one. His name was Barack Obama.
Well, I'm also thinking that we have one with Mr. Otter. Hey, let's name the library after me.
Boy, the governor's taking a beating today.
Yeah, he is. But then again, the obvious is the obvious.
Well, here, let's have a dialogue, you and me here in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Let's, where's the restoring the funding to the special needs programs, the mentally ill? Remember how heartbreaking that was? Was that 4 or 5 years ago where they said, look, we're going to endanger people's lives, and instead of giving $5 million to scholarships, which is great, but I mean, the young people pretty much can take care of their own, take care of themselves. Why not look at restoring some of those programs? When you talk to law enforcement here or anywhere, they say, mental health programs are really would really help out law enforcement.
Well, remember, when you consider where the monies are going, you have to consider what income level people those monies are going to end up into whose hands. And when you start talking to the mentally ill, well, whose monies are they going to end up in? Whose hands are they? Certainly not people that would be at the annual Christmas ball or whatever put on by the governor and or any other legislator that's thinking of themselves first and then second. Where do you funnel the money? Where you can get the most influence, where you can get come on, Kevin, you know how this works. Who can I buy today?
Man, we've got a lot of skeptics here this morning.
Oh, we do. One skeptic, let's talk about that oath to God. Here's man getting away from our responsibility to God. Our yea is to be yea, our nay is to be nay. Period. We are to swear to nothing. Now, those are God's words, so you can get angry with me, but that's just us saying, well, we know better than him, so we're going to swear by something else. And we'll use his name just to make it sound good. We don't change the rules. Are we honorable or are we not? Period. I know that sounds so simplistic, but in all actuality, that is the way it should be. And that's why mankind has changed.
Right. Not only that, but I mean, we were talking earlier where all of a sudden, this report from the Seattle Times that the state Secretary of State's office wants to remove gender from voting when you put your gender there. I don't really get that because they're afraid of getting sued.
Well,
okay, so if you're not going to stand up for gender, what are we going to stand up for?
Well, I think we're heading into that strange world of artificial intelligence is going to be combined with the transhumanism. It's going to be combined with non-gender. Who knows what kind of breed of creature we're going to be in another 200 years.
We're starting to sound like Clyde Lewis and George Norrie here. I think it's...
aren't we, though?
I think this is more 3 a.m. than where we are right now, but...
Well, but then again, the news is out there. It's pretty simple. Anybody can read it if the truth is important to them. And if not, go ahead, continue feeding on the illusion. No, it's a changing world. And I just have to be thankful for one thing. And I'm surprised day by day with the stance that Donald Trump, our president, is taking on many issues. But I'm really curious because one of the really big ones that's important, when he says they can't give us jobs, well, I'm going to digress a second to the side, but the economy's getting worse. It's not getting better. I mean, year over year, all the car manufacturers are down. We've got even more stores closing down this year. I'm going down the line. But to make the point is, he is really working. But if he starts giving these illegal, I didn't say undocumented, I said illegal criminals in this country the freedom to stay and take our jobs, then in essence, he has lied. I'm taking him at his word. It's been a long time since I've had a president that I felt that I could take at his word. But I'm hoping Mr. Trump is that man. If we can take him for his word, it will be one glorious time for America.
Terry, God bless. Thank you.
You have a good day, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Our great friend Terry from formerly of State College, Pennsylvania. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. The government shutdown is over. We've talked a little bit about that. In addition to that, the decision by the state of Idaho, at least from the Secretary of State's office, going to the House State Affairs Committee, saying that we really don't want a voter's sex on the voter registration card anymore. It's unnecessary, and we could possibly get sued. In fact, the state of Oregon they're the first in the country to actually have a non-binary or other category when we're taking a look at voter registration. Nearby states, again, according to the Seattle Times, Oregon, Washington, Montana, Nevada, and Utah do not require sex to be disclosed on the voter registration form. Again, Oregon last year agreed to become the first state to allow residents to identify as non-binary as a third option when disclosing their sex on licenses and identification cards rather than select male or female. Now, again, regardless of what you think of gender and everything else, I think there are things that are defined. There are absolutes. And when we start messing with absolutes and absolutism, what do we have next? Moral relativism, where we all make up the rules. And we've seen that with a lot of folks today that are, non-judgmental, non-this, non-that, non-confrontational. Hey, let's cooperate. Let's get along. Let's just get rid of all the standards that we've had for many, many years. Is that an improvement? I don't think so. Now, what's next on driver's licenses? So you can just pick what you want to be? Now, again, let me apologize in advance that I'm not being very specific, but, whenever I hear these things, I go back to that old commercial about candy bars. The one between Mounds and Almond Joy. Personally, I think in the world today, when we start to rewrite everything, we want to redo everything, I go back to that. Sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. Mounds has nuts, Almond Joy doesn't. Or vice versa, right? I mean, that's how crazy it is. It's crazy. Let's go to Joe in Payette with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How's it going?
Living the dream, brother, and you?
Heading to work. So, we're talking about taking genders off the voting registration, and everyone's freaking out about genders. But here's the thing. Your gender can never be physically changed in the molecular level, just like your age can never be changed. You can't claim to be 66, but you can claim to be a woman or a man. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not matter. They shouldn't take it off there, because then it goes off of, well, most of men wanted this, and this is what women wanted. There's nothing sexist or racist or anything about it.
What do you make of the state's argument? Well, we're afraid of getting sued.
Well, guess what, Sally? Buck up and stop buckling into the snowflakes. I've been in the military for 13 years, and I work at a prison where I have to deal with that stuff. It's annoying. One thing after another is they started suing the state. The state started giving them money because we wouldn't call them a she. Well, guess what? You're in a man's prison. It doesn't matter. If you're a man, you're a man. Guess what? That's the way it goes.
Quite frankly, I wish our society was more like that. We had rigid rules and we stuck to them.
Exactly. Everyone nowadays wants everything handed to them, or they want free this and free that, and screw the veterans, and let's let all these illegals in. I'm all for coming in legally. Come on in, as long as you do the right process. I have plenty of friends that did it that way, too.
Well, here's the issue. How many of the illegals do we have in the prisons?
You don't want to know. There's too many to count.
Yeah,
I can't even say.
The press doesn't even say that, do they? They never cover that story.
No, they never do.
Mm-hmm.
I deal with it all the time, every day. I had a friend when we were overseas. He was still not yet a United States citizen. And he got his citizenship by serving the country and going over to war. And then he got his citizenship. And guess what, bud? You earned that. You're a citizen. That's just like they're trying to say it's wrong not to let illegals vote. Don't let what is it? It's racist not to let non-citizens vote.
Well, I'm sure you deal with this all the time. Of course, you live in the real world, not the pretend world that the press and the rest of us live in when we're talking about standards and everything else. You can't just sit there and go, well, Billy feels like being Sally today, and because we don't want to hurt Sally's feelings, even though they're a convicted person. we're going to call her Sally. No, the rules are the rules.
Plain and simple. I mean, the way I look at it, and this is how a lot of and this is coming from a lot of females I know too, they plain out stated, you are not, just because you have a sex change, does not mean you're a woman. You're a mutilated man, is what they stated. And that's not coming from me. That was from a lot of females and other males I know. You're still biologically a male.
Joe, thank you for your service and for listening to KIDO Talk Radio this morning.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You as well. All right, our red friend Joe. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up next, what you really feel about legal and illegal immigration and the future of our great country. All that before the bottom of the hour with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Just an overall view of society today, and I want to thank Joe from Payette from calling in. Just the idea of where are the standards. Two things we're talking about today. The idea that, and we want to thank Representative Zito for calling in to clarify the Facebook posting, whether or not when you're in law enforcement or you swear an oath, like when you swear an oath to protect the Constitution, when you go into the military, you swear on a Bible, you swear to God. Some states, some localities thinking of getting rid of the under God reservation, and apparently you have folks in the Post Academy, somebody had a problem with swearing an oath to God. So apparently they went through all of that rigmarole, all the training, all the physicality, all the learning to peace out because they didn't want to swear an oath to God. So if you're not going to swear an oath to God, what are you going to swear an oath to? And we came up with, the trees, the deists, the Wiccans, perhaps Mother Earth, Captain Planet. And then we have the idea that the state of Idaho, through the Secretary of State's office, went to the legislature and said, look, we're uncomfortable with having gender on voter registration cards. It's a little too uncomfortable for us. We don't want to get sued. All the states around us, they don't require gender anymore. Of course, all the states around us have lower taxes as well. I don't see people looking to lower the taxes here in the state of Idaho. Wouldn't that be great? Or repeal the grocery tax. Wouldn't that have been the number one agenda since it went down? It got vetoed by the governor the last time around. But alas, we haven't seen that come up yet, have we? Still a lot of time left in the legislature. So for those of you that have a little miles on the odometer, I'm going to share something with you, which is really a creative commentary on society today. It's a little something we used to call a television commercial, now available at YouTube, but really I think this is where our society is going. You don't want to put gender on a voter registration card? No worries. You don't want to swear an oath to God? No worries, because
sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't. Almond joy got nut.
Mounds don't.
Almond joy got rich milk chocolate.
Coconut and orange nuts too.
Mounds got deep dark chocolate. Chewy coconut. Ooh.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't.
Peter Paul almond joy's got nuts.
Peter Paul Mounds don't.
Because
you know, when you have a problem, when you're in the supermarket, when you're talking to folks that may not agree with you socially, ethically, morally, and but before the blood pressure gets going, how should I say this? I would just start reciting that song again and again and again. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Because I think that's where we're going. Some people in society feel like nuts. Now, you can't really say that anymore because that's insensitive and, you're going to be shamed and you're going to be an insensitive such and such, such and such, such and such. You don't want to be that, right? But think about it. I mean, I think that's where we're going. Time for traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on. And let's go to Tom in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. I just wanted to just put a little bit of information out there. I joined active duty back in 1986 where we swore to God and allegiance to protect, of course, the Constitution and against enemies, foreign and domestic. But then there was a shift in the 90s when I joined the Guard. They allowed the words solemnly affirm. And I kind of felt awkward because when I was raising my hand at that point and they said you can either swear to God or say the words solemnly affirm, I knew that was kind of the beginning of the end of swearing to a higher power outside of yourself. And I don't know, I just felt very awkward about that. I kind of instantaneously knew that there was going to be a shift and we were going to kind of start marching towards that no longer swearing and having consequences. Basically, by affirming to yourself, you're pretty much just saying, I'm only accountable to myself. So I just want to throw that out there. It's actually been out there for a while, that you don't have to swear to a higher power.
And that's when you joined the military?
When I joined the Guard. I went to active duty in 86 where we were still swearing on the Bible, and then in the Guard in 90 when I got out of active duty, I went into the Guard, and that's where they switched the words sometime in the 90s to solemnly affirm instead of swear to God.
Boy, you went in about the same time I did. How the world has changed since 86, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could I just felt the shift, and it was kind of shocking because I was there, in a room, and when the guy said you could do this or that, I was like, wow, obviously you go into a fight and you want to have the feeling that you're doing this for a cause and you're justified in your belief system. But then later on, when you could just solemnly affirm to yourself, it's just like saying, I really, really, really promise that I will obey, and it holds you to a different accountability. The accountability switches from a higher power that judges you outside, this cosmos to yourself, and that changes everything. That really did make an impact on me. So just wanted to pass that out there, brother. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your service, Tom. God bless. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And coming up, Arvell, Big John, Liberty Linda. Don't forget our State of the Union party. For more details, you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com for the very latest. We're going to be at Dave & Buster's watching the State of the Union. If you'd like to join us and then participate in our live broadcast afterwards, you can simply call Dave & Buster's at 901-3806. That's 901-3806. Or you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and check out the link and get the number there. Call Dave & Buster's and get your seat reserved today. It's going to be awesome, once again, to see everybody and hear what you have to say concerning the State of the Union. KIDO Talk Radio, a proud affiliate of Fox News Radio. We go live to Capitol Hill exclusively here in the Treasure Valley to talk to Rachel Sutherland with the very latest. And it's over. It barely begun, but everybody's back to work. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Yeah, they were all buzzing into work this morning, the federal workers, so no break from the traffic here in the D.C. area. But this is temporary, as usual. This is the fourth short-term fix in 6 months. And this one just is, I believe, maybe 2 weeks and a few days. February 8th is the new deadline. And this as Republicans are looking to work with some Democrats in the Senate on immigration. There's a chance that some of them, like maybe Democrat Joe Manchin or Doug Jones, the new senator from Alabama, might be willing to work with Republicans. They were ones that didn't vote for the shutdown to begin with. But you have some divisions within the Democratic Party that aren't widely talked about, but you have the more classical liberals and then progressives who are becoming more and more left-wing all the time. So you have to satisfy both groups, and the progressives are upset that some of the more moderate Democrats voted to reopen the government. So you have these divisions, and I don't see some of the progressives wanting to negotiate.
Indeed, of course. Have we just kicked the can down the road, or is this all about DACA?
This is really a big to-do about DACA. And Republicans have said, hey, look, we want to do a fix for the Dreamers as well. But the president wants border money in exchange and the end of the diversity lottery and chain migration program. So it's kind of a four-legged table here, and, you can't remove one of the legs as far as Republicans are concerned. Democrats say, no, we want a clean Dreamers bill. They've also offered some border funding, but it's only a tiny fraction of what the president has requested. So that's the rub right now. That's where the stalemate is.
Now that they're back to work, any moving legislation that we should look for this week?
Now, I would look for more discussion on immigration and getting that moving. As far as their agenda at the moment, I'll need to take a look. But right now, it seems to be really just all about immigration and trying to come up with a plan because DACA officially expires in March, and so that's not very far. Republicans and Democrats just really looking for a way forward together on this.
Rachel, we appreciate you. You have a great day.
You too.
All right, our great friend Rachel Sutherland joining us. Let's go to Big John in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Big John.
Good morning, Kevin. So I just wanted to comment on Tom Munn's call. It was very interesting and revealing tidbit he shared about Governor Butch Otter apparently used to be involved with the John Birch Society.
Well, that's according to Tom, yes.
Right. Well, I mean, Tom would know. You know, I would think. Now, I haven't researched it. That's the first time I've heard it. And yeah, that is something that should be looked into. But you know, I know Tom Munns, and if he said it, there's got to be a nugget of truth to it. So it's worth investigating for sure. But it's you know, assuming it is true, you know, it's really a great illustration as to why we need to get to know prospective candidates for office and ask them the really tough questions. And, you know, find out, you know, apparently if there's any truth to that at all, then Governor Otter's wandered a long way from his core values.
Well, that is the opinion of some people that are critical of the governor, Big John.
Well, I mean, we have to be critical of the government. We can't trust them. We haven't been able to trust them for a long time. I knew way back in the 80s that, you know, government wasn't to be trusted. And we were crazy to trust them. And, you know, and look where we are today. And as to, you know, other people have commented on, you know, taking the words under God out of the police officer's oath. That should be absolutely opposed very strongly and loudly. You know, so.
Well, you know, it's right, Big John, but as other people have said, I don't know what you're swearing to if you're not swearing to God.
Right. Yeah, that's the point. And, you know, and people need to get involved. They need to call up, you know, and find out what's going on. Where did that come from? What do we need to do to correct that? I think it can be corrected if enough people speak out.
Fair enough. Big John, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
You betcha. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. You have a great day. We continue on. We go to Arvell in Fruitland with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Arvell.
Good morning, Kevin. I'd like to try to clarify these statements concerning making of vows and oaths. I'm referring to Matthew 5, verses 33 to 37, where Jesus was saying, do not make any oath at all, but by your statement be yes or no, and anything beyond this is evil. And the reason for that is because we are fallible people. We're fallen creatures before God, and we need His help. And to be solemnly affirming this would be more accurate in saying that, yes, I should do this. He knows what he has to do, but not to make a vow, because chances are he won't be able to keep it, at least from the heart. And so we're accountable to God, however, and how we're accountable is to go to Him and ask for His help to keep these what we're supposed to do. And His question to us at the Judgment Day would be, why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you ask me for help? Why didn't you receive me into your life so that you could be faithful and do what you're supposed to do? So that's all I have to say about that, but I think we need to go back to Scriptures to try and understand some of these things that are confusing. That's all.
Arvell, God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kevin Miller in the morning, taking your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Liberty Linda joins us now. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. It was nice hearing from Big John this morning. He hasn't called in for a while. So anyway, for some reason, I keep getting this subliminal this morning, Kevin. You know, I keep feeling like I want a candy bar, and I don't understand it. Anyway, From what I understand, Governor Otter was taught the Constitution by Cleon Skousen. And what I've heard from a good person that knows him, that he used to fly down to Utah in his plane and meet with Cleon Skousen quite often when he was teaching that to him. So anyway, that's what I heard. A little trivia there.
All right. Well, the life and times of Governor Otter, allegedly.
Anyway, so I mean, he learned it from the best.
Now, by the way, Liberty Linda, let's for people that aren't familiar with what you're referring to.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't. Enjoy gut nuts.
Mounds don't.
Enjoy gut rich milk chocolate.
Coconut and orange nuts too.
Mounds got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't.
Peter Paul enjoys gut nuts.
Peter Paul Mounds don't.
Because
That's the way our society is going today.
We have so much fun listening to your show. It's great. Anyway, I say let's not play around with our Constitution. Let's leave it as it is. Anyway, that's what I feel. I'm looking forward to hearing from Robert Brown, what he has to say about that. But I'd like to say ditto to everything my friend Tom Lund said this morning. I believe a policeman's oath should include "So help me God" or "under God." I believe, as what you stated this morning, I agree with that.
Well, I'm glad I could get into the agreement category, Liberty Linda. We appreciate you as always.
Thank you. Well, I really like the point you made this morning about DACA. And, the reason why it's always good to hear common sense. And I think you made common sense with that comment you made.
Liberty Linda, God bless. We'll see you soon.
Okay. All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Joe in Meridian with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, Kevin. God bless you today. How's it going?
Living the dream, brother, and you?
Same deal, man. Hey, I was just thinking about, I had some flashbacks here to the crash in 2008 and the banking bailout, and it didn't seem like that worked out very well. Here we bailed out these banks. Now we consolidated, and we have big banks, and we have a lot more debt. And, with the government, I'm not opposed to having it shut down for a while. I don't think we shut down our core issues like military and that type of thing. But, maybe they need to get their act together, and maybe a shutdown does that. Free market society says if you're in debt, you got to pay it off. And we keep racking up debt. So I don't think these bailouts, whether it's the government bailing themselves out or bailing out DACA, these illegal immigrants, basically it's the financial cost for these folks to come into our country. And I care about them, but maybe we can care about them in their country. Maybe we can help them there. But I think all of these things really amount to just big bailouts. And my question is, how do you bail people out when you don't have any money to do so? Your thoughts, Kevin?
Well, I would agree with you, and I have talked about America First for quite some time, Joe. And look, we're talking about bringing in all these people and that they have rights and stuff. No, you're the musical chairs. The music is stopped in musical chairs, and these people don't have seats, so they need to go. And we're always talking about compassion. Well, I will tell you this: I think I'm a great guy, but if I don't pay my mortgage, the mortgage company doesn't have compassion for me.
Exactly.
That's really what it comes down to. I had a boss here who was great, and sometimes he gave me a speech that has resonated with me my entire life. He said, you're right, and it's not fair and that fair, but why don't you just quit? Why don't you just walk away? Why don't you just do all these things? And you're going to be right, and that's going to feel great. And then a week from now, you're going to have to find a job, and your bill company doesn't care if you're right. That's really what it comes down to. The harsh realities that our government doesn't seem to want to face.
I don't get it because all of us individuals have to balance our budget or we get kicked out on the street. But the government somehow figures out a way not to do that. It's bizarre to me.
Well, it comes down to the whole touchy-feely. Well, I'm uncomfortable identifying as such. So instead of bucking up, as we've been taught, what do? Well, we're going to change the whole criteria.
Yep. At some point, there's going to be a reckoning. I just hope it's sooner rather than later, because if it's later, it'll be more painful.
Joe, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. You have a great day, sir.
You too, Kevin. Thanks.
All right. We appreciate it. Coming up, are you down with a DACA deal? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO.
And so grateful to be with you, Kevin Miller, in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget our State of the Union watch party will be, well, January 30th from 6 to 9 at Dave & Buster's. And we continue on taking your calls about the issues that matter to you. The phone number is 901-3806. We'd love to see you there. Let's go back to some of your phone calls, and we go to Terry in Caldwell with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Terry.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Roger that.
Okay, I just wanted to chime in on the comment made by the gentleman from the passage in Matthew where Jesus says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything beyond that is evil. And I just wanted to share a little perspective on that. In regards to, as a way of life, meaning what you say, saying what you mean, and following through with what you say you're going to do, I think that's perfectly appropriate what he was saying. That I think that would fall in line with what Jesus' intent was there, that we should do what we say we're going to do. But in terms of applying that in reference to making an oath, I think you got to really look at the context there, because I know a lot of people actually who refuse to say the Pledge of Allegiance on that ground, that Jesus said you should not make any oath. The Pledge of Allegiance is considered an oath. And so they refuse to participate in that. And I had to really think long and hard about that, because coming from California, a lot of the schools out there, a lot of the teachers that I worked with in California refused to say the Pledge of Allegiance. They wouldn't lead their class in that. And I saw that as a real problem to the morale and attitude in the students and the teachers. It's very divisive, I think. And the whole idea is that we're part of a team. And, just like you're talking about under God in an oath, you're making the statement that you're part of a unified team and that you support that team and you're going to work together to make the best of it. And going back to the context, in that passage, Jesus was addressing an issue where the religious leaders of the time within the synagogue had made a practice, instead of the way it was originally intended in Old Testament law, they were making frivolous oaths all the time. It had become a cultural practice where you'd make an oath on the corner stone of the temple, or an oath on your mother or whatever. And it was just commonplace that people made oaths and they didn't keep them. And Jesus was addressing the problem with that. And I think so often you really got to look at the context before you make a generalized, bold claim about, to take a verse like that out of context. I don't think it applies to our police officers saying, hey, we're gonna work together as a team here, and I promise I'll do that.
Terry, great point. I got to run. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, traffic and weather together. And quickly to Tom in Nampa at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Living the dream, brother, and you?
I'm fixing my son's breakfast. Life is good.
Good for you.
Yeah. Quick question regarding the shutdown the other day.
Sure.
The majority of the Congress is made up of millionaires. FYI. So even, in the Congress, and the president, the judiciary, and basically the upper tier of government, they can't be furloughed. So they're going to get paid no matter what. Now, PFC Banats on some hilltop in Afghanistan, he can be furloughed. I think we have a problem here. You get guys whose lifestyle is not going to be changed, not only if they don't get paid for doing what they're hired to do, but also their lifestyle's not going to get changed no matter what the tax situation is. They're not going to feel the pain no matter what. This does not strike me as a good thing. Now, the president, whether you like him, don't like him, at least this guy has got the style to send his paycheck back. These millionaires, like I said, if PFC Benott's in some hilltop somewhere ain't getting paid, these guys ought to have the style to send the paycheck back, at least as long as he ain't getting paid. But so far as I know, none of them do. Might be interesting for a powerful and influential member of the media, such as yourself, to, make inquiries about that.
Look, I'm always looking for content because I sure don't have any. Tom, God bless you. Have a great day, and thank you, sir.
You too.